name's Rebecca Gibney, and I studied at John Moores University, Accountancy and Finance, and I graduated in 2012. A graduate scheme is an intensive training programme, which is normally between a year and 3 years long. And it also involves some qualifications as well. So as a finance trainee, I study CIMA, but you might be doing a master's degree or CIPD for HR. It also is kind of like a springboard to middle management or senior management, so it kind of allows you to skip some of the lower level management jobs. So with a graduate scheme, you move teams, move departments quite a lot, so it kind of gives you an insight into all the different areas, so it makes it easier at a strategic level to see all the parts coming together, and you get a really varied, wide experience. Whilst I was at university, it was quite drilled into you that it is kind of like seen as the ideal route. I didn't really know much about them. So I knew that there were training programs where you worked and studied at the same time, and they were roughly like 2.5 years long. But I became more aware when, in my final year, the university would send out emails about different graduate schemes and when to apply. So I applied, and then that's how I kind of found out about them, really. So the application process, it was an online system where you had to submit your CV with all your education dates, and you also had to complete some psychometric testing. So it involved kind of numerical and verbal reasoning tests, which were timed. So I think it was very important to make sure that you weren't interrupted during the tests, and you make sure that you practice them a lot before you do them, because you only get one shot. And then, so at the application stage for my scheme, there was 12,500 applicants. So then they took you through to an interview stage. So I think actually I applied in the December, and I found out I had an interview in the January, and then the interviews took place in about April. So it's quite a long process. And the interview was value-based, and it was kind of like an hours-long interview. And prior to the interview, I did a mock interview at John Moores World of Work Centre, and it was the most valuable thing I did at university. It was, if I hadn't have done that, I'd feel as though I probably wouldn't have got through the interview stage, because I had tailored questions to the NHS scheme, and it made me I could see what it would be like, and because I've never done an interview before that one, so I was very nervous, and I kind of got all my nerves out doing the mock interview. So then I went through the interview process, and I think after the interview process, they whittled it down to 300 people. And then those 300 were taken through to an assessment centre, which was a full day, really intensive, quite a tiring, stressful day. But it involved, we got emails sent to us throughout the day about different meetings that we had to attend. So we'd attend these meetings where you might find that you paired up with somebody and you have to argue a point, or there was a one-to-one interview where they would try and argue against you, and you had to kind of calm them down and be quite logical and try and get your point across without coming across as aggressive. And then after the assessment centre, we found out about a few weeks after, I think we found out in the May that we'd got through. And then afterwards we found out where we were going to be placed. It was quite a while, probably about 2 months afterwards, we found out what trust we were going to be in. So we didn't really meet up until September, and it was like a welcome week where we spent one night in Birmingham, where we had influential people come in and doing talks for us, like David Nicholson, the chief exec of the NHS, came and spoke to us, and then we did an intensive intensive training program in the Yarnfield Centre, where we got to meet all the other graduate trainees, and it was quite an important time because you do feel quite isolated because there isn't anybody else that you know that's going to be on, that are on the scheme. So it's a good opportunity to meet people and to kind of ease your own nerves about it, because everybody's experiencing the same, sort of things, and it's a good chance to talk to people, compare experiences and nerves. And so at that event as well, we also did some studying as well, because we do a PG certificate in leadership and service improvement from Manchester University. So we did pretty much 4 days of intensive study as well. But in the evenings, we got time to we had all our meals together, and we got time to talk and to network. And it's really important to create these networks, because you do rely on them throughout the scheme, because in one trust, there's normally only one trainee, so you are isolated. So at these events where you do meet up, it's really important to catch up and to network and create contacts. To be honest with me, I felt that because I didn't go to a red brick university, that I wouldn't have as much of a chance of getting onto such a prestigious scheme as this. So automatically, I kind of felt a bit like less confident going forward. But I think it was because it was so drilled into us on the course that that's what you should be aiming for and that's what you're capable of doing. I thought I'd apply. There's no harm in, you're not going to lose anything from it. But it was quite intimidating, and looking back now, I don't know how I've done it, to be honest. I feel as though I've come so far in such a short space of time, and my confidence has just grown. Looking back, there was no way that I thought I would be capable of doing the things that I've done, but I have, and I'm here, and I'm looking to the future now, thinking, well, if I've done that in 1 year, what am I going to do in the next year? So my top tips would be just make the most of everything that you've got at the moment. Just don't do what I did and look back and think, oh, I could have made more use of the career centre. And also just to have a bit of confidence in yourself. You are capable of doing it. Because you didn't go to a red brick university doesn't mean anything. You've still got the same degree that other people have got. And just to know that you're capable. And that also to make sure you're very prepared. Read everything you can about the organisation that you're applying for. Make sure that you can go into that interview with a bit of confidence. You know what you're going to say. You know the questions that you might get asked. And just to go in there and just wow them.